In this video, I want to show you how to connect to a virtual machine that has all the software you'll need to work on your IAM classes already set up. So virtual machine, it's a machine that's in the cloud that you're connecting to over your internet. So if you have good internet, you should have a pretty decent experience with these virtual machines. And there are two ways to connect to them. One is a really easy way over the web in an HTML client, and the other is a much more robust experience that is through a desktop application. And I'm going to recommend that everyone, if you're doing this long term, you set up this desktop app because there are a lot of nice features, like it'll allow you to actually hook up your flash drive to the virtual machine or share a folder from your PC to the virtual machine. So it makes it really easy to share and back up your work between your local PC or your flash drive and the virtual machine, which is a little bit harder to do with the web client. But let's start with looking at the web client. So if you go to horizon.colum.edu, you'll be presented with this interface where you can either download the desktop client or click on HTML access to get into the web client. And either way that you do it, you're going to have to log in the same way. So you're going to be using your IAM credentials. So I'm going to put in my username and my IAM password, and then it's really important that from this dropdown you choose IAM. These are if you use the IAM dropdown, these are the machines that are configured for our IAM classes. When you log in, you'll see two machines available to you. This may change in the future. These are what are set up right now. We have a 4Q machine and an 8Q machine, and the 4Q should pretty much be sufficient for most of our classes. And if you're in my coding classes, this is the machine that you want to hop into. If for some reason there's performance problems on this one, you can try the 8Q, but I'm going to recommend starting with the 4Q. So I'm going to open this up. It'll take a second. And now you're logged into a virtual machine. So inside of the browser window here, I am inside of a virtual machine that has all the software that we have configured in our classrooms. So we could open up Unity or Visual Studio or Premiere and work on a project. And you also have access when you are on this virtual machine to your home drive. For you, this would say the letter Z, but it also would say home drive. You can open this up and see all of the stuff that you have stored on your home drive. So this is great, but I actually want to show you the desktop application. So that is the Horizon View client, which is a better experience, especially if you're going to be connecting multiple times to this machine. It'll make your life a lot easier. So you can follow the instructions here for installing this application. I'm going to pick up from this point. So I have the Horizon View client already installed. Got it right here. And then what I want to do when I open it up is add this server, horizon.colum.edu, connect. And it's going to prompt me the same way that we saw in the browser. I'm going to put in my username, password, and very important, select IAM from the dropdown here. And you will see those similar machines to what we saw online, the 4Q, the 8Q. I recommend, again, going into the 4Q. So when you open this up, it is going to take over your full screen, and it may go black until the machine actually connects and you're all set up. That's not an error, just give it a second. And right off the bat, you have this control panel at the top, which gives you options for configuring the connection to the virtual machine. So under the options here, we could disconnect and connect to a different virtual machine or shut this down. We can share folders from our personal PC to this virtual machine. We can also connect USB devices. This window can be pinned or unpinned. So if you're needing to see the full screen and this is blocking something, you can unpin it, and you can also move it around to different places so that it's not blocking what you're working on. I'm going to leave this pinned. And then the other thing that you can do here is this maximize, minimize, close control panel up here. If we choose the middle option, that will allow us to have a smaller window view of our virtual machine. So you can actually see back here this browser is on my personal machine, and then this window is into the virtual machine. So what I want to do is go through the workflow of what it would be like to work on a project using this virtual machine. So with this virtual machine, anything that you store on it, consider it temporary. So if you save something to the desktop, it's not going to be there when you log off and log back in. You will always want to make sure that when you're working on something, you are saving it and backing it up somewhere other than this virtual machine. So let's create a new project with Visual Studio 2019. Create a new project, .NET Core, and this will apply, whatever type of project you're creating. I'm just going to use Visual Studio as the demo. So I recommend going into the workspace here, and let's say I'm going to create a folder for Intro to Programming, and let's call this Demo Project. It'll take a second to create the project, but we have a really simple C# demo project. We can run it, and again, might take a few seconds to build, but pops open, hello world, hooray, we got our project. We'd keep working on this until the assignment or the project or whatever we're doing is done, or we're ready to log off. So I would save that project, I would close it down, and we saved it to C workspace, ITP. So I'm going to leave this File Explorer open, and I'm going to open up another File Explorer window. And let's walk through some of the options. We finished our project, and we want to now get it out of this virtual machine so that it's saved, so that we don't lose our work, so that we're able to access it later. One option, like you have in all our classrooms, our physical classrooms, is that under network locations, you will see your home drive. So for students, this will be labeled as Z, but you can find it by just looking for the word home under network locations. And this you could back something up to. So I could take my demo project from here, and I've got this ITP folder already where I've stored a few things. I could just copy the demo project I'm hitting Control C over here and then Control V over here to paste it in. And now I've got this saved in a place where anytime I log in, I will have access to this home drive. I'll be able to copy projects over to the workspace and work on them. And when I'm done, copy them back over to the home drive. Depending on the type of project, you can sometimes get away with working from your projects directly from your home drive, but that's kind of a no-no. Because that's going to be slow. Generally, what you want to do is whatever you're working on, put it on the local computer. So put it in this workspace folder under C, and when you're done, copy it and back it up somewhere. So option 1 for backup is saving it to your home drive, which you'll have access to from this virtual machine. Option number 2 is pop open browser, log into OneDrive, to Dropbox, to Google Drive, to whatever your storage solution is. You can take your project, you can zip it up, and then just drag it and drop it into whatever service you're using. So the next option, which would probably be my preferred option, is instead of saving it to the home drive or uploading it somewhere, if you go into options here and go to share folder, you can actually, here, let me remove the one that I already have in here. You can add a folder from your computer. So, the computer, this one, my personal computer that we're looking at where the browser is open. I can add a folder. So maybe I want to make sure that my documents folder is connected to this virtual machine. I add it, then I hit apply, hit OK. And then if I look into this PC, you should see the name of that folder that you shared and the name of your computer here. And so I can double click this to open it. And now I can actually copy things from my computer over to this virtual machine, or from this virtual machine over to my computer. So maybe I want to back up this project that I was working on, and I've already got a folder for ITP. I'll just copy and paste it in there. it's backed up. And if we want to verify that, I'm going to minimize this window and let's pop open on my personal computer, File Explorer, and we could go to my documents, ITP Spring, and there we go. There's the demo project. It's been shared from the virtual machine to my personal machine. So one more option for you is that you can also connect a flash drive to your personal machine and then give control of it over to your virtual machine. So I've plugged a flash drive into my computer, and if I go to this menu under Connect USB Device, look for the USB device that is my flash drive. Mine is showing up as unknown U disk. If I go ahead and select that and give it a second, the flash drive will show up here connected under devices on the virtual machine. And so I could grab my project and copy it over to a flash drive. It's probably going to take longer than the other methods that I showed you, but this will also work if you prefer to have your stuff portable on a flash drive. There we go, got it backed up. So now it's on our flash drive, and if we want to disconnect the flash drive from this virtual machine, we would just go up here and uncheck unknown U disk. So that's a lot of options. You've got your home drive where you can save things. You've got the browser where you can pop open OneDrive or whatever your cloud storage solution is. You can share folders from your local PC to this virtual machine, and you can connect a USB device to actually save it to a USB device. Doesn't matter which you choose. What's important is that you back up your projects. Whatever you store on this virtual machine, consider it unsafe, that as soon as you log off, it's potentially gone from this virtual machine. So what you want to get in the habit of doing is when you start working on a project here, you copy it over from your home drive, from OneDrive, from your local PC, from wherever, get it into this machine or start a new project from scratch, work on it. And before you log off, before you're done, make sure to copy it to your OneDrive, to your home folder, to your local PC, to your USB device. It's really important that you back it up. And if you're working on code projects, GitHub Desktop is a great way to do that so that you can be consistently committing and pushing things to GitHub's cloud servers so that you have a backup online. But it doesn't matter what you do as long as you pick a backup and actually use it consistently. So that's it. That's all it takes to get access to the virtual machines. Your internet connection will probably determine how smooth this feels. So if you have access to a strong broadband internet connection, that will definitely help. And when you're done, you can go ahead and go from the options here. You could disconnect. This will shut down your connection to the virtual machine, and then you can close down the Horizon client.